Good afternoon. My name is Rampenthal. I'm the Chief Legal Officer and co-founder of Dinari, where we are currently, right now, outside the US, issuing, people can use their stable coins to buy our tokens that are backed one-to-one by US securities. Securities that are names that you know every day, like Apple and Tesla, NVIDIA, Amazon and Google, and even ETFs like the S&P 500. We think that no matter where you are in the world, the only thing that's going to actually change markets is unleashing the power of blockchain to open up transparency and to increase access worldwide. At Dinari, we have a mission. We want to increase that access. We want to increase that transparency, no matter exactly where you, how wealthy you are, no matter what experience you have, or where you happen to be located. It's undoubtable that technology has and will continue to improve our lives day to day. And that can also be said true to the markets as well. Kind of. Markets have gotten better, but they can still do so much more. For instance, we've got trading platforms online that people can use, and they take trading and put it right into your desktop or into the palm of your hand in your mobile device. They've eliminated the need, many places, for an online broker. You don't need that anymore. No face-to-face meetings, no phone calls. And with all of this, though, take a look at the ownership percentages of people in the stock market. It's almost unchanged in the past 20 years. How is that possible? Well, you also have things like high-frequency trading. What an amazing thing, right? Well, yeah, it increases liquidity. It does a whole lot if you're the kind of person that can benefit from that. But for most people, they don't have access to that level of high-frequency trading. They can't benefit from the day-to-day efficient trades. They're long-term retail investors. They don't need this. Same goes for AI-powered tools. They're not available to most people. They're available to hedge funds, right? And we all know what happens. When hedge funds win, little people typically lose. So that's got me asking, what is the deal here? Where's the actual payoff for people like Miguel? Does he have anything that's going to help him out? Why is it seem that technology in the financial markets and traditional finance is still so far out of reach for everyone? Well, I think you can illustrate this a little bit just going back to about 2.5 years to what happened with the GameStop saga. And I'm sure that most people here understand exactly what happened at GameStop, so I'm not going to rehash the whole thing, but I do want to focus on two issues. And the first one has to do with the short position that was out there. It was shorted about 140% more than its actual float, which is insane, right? I am all for shorting stocks whenever you don't have faith in management or no faith in their business model. But that's an impossible position. Hedge funders were kind of hoping that no one would notice it, but that led to Wall Street Bets turning the tables on them, and we know exactly what happened there. The second part was when Robinhood halted trades. Now, we know that ticked off a lot of people, right? That was not a good thing. How did this happen? Well, it was almost a foregone conclusion. Robinhood was just under-collateralized, and they did not anticipate what was going to happen. So we also don't know if there was any undue influence from other areas. And the fact is, without the transparency in the market, we actually may never know what happened there. This lack of transparency is continuing to hurt investors and hurting the market. Enter blockchain as a solution. We think blockchain is the solution to bring that sort of transparency. It can streamline trades, it can actually remove friction in intermediaries, and add transparency and security to the system. It's no doubt, and you don't have to believe me, right? You can look at some of the quotes that are popping up behind me right now. These are from market insiders, and they've been made as early as 2014, 2015. They all know and understand the power of blockchain. They know what it can do. So let's talk a little bit about, maybe for a couple of minutes, some of the things that blockchain can bring to us and bring to traditional finance, making it decentralized finance. The first is transparency. Blockchain transactions are absolutely transparent. They remove human influence. They actually help keep and level the playing field, make sure everybody plays by the same rules. We also know that there's accuracy that's necessary and real-time information. This allows the hive mind to collectively share stuff and out bad actors without fear of reprisal. We need to make sure that there's equality as well. Everyone should know the rules and play by the rules. When trading can be altered or it can be changed on the fly, that needs to not be done by humans who are subject to influence, but by code on the chain, not subject to influence. And we all know that we need this necessary kind of stability, right? The certainty of smart contracts gives us that stability, and it can also de-lever during volatile times. This is my favorite one, and that has to do when we have the building blocks of the financial system put onto a public blockchain. We know that globally trading and buying securities is the type of thing that can happen with increased interoperability and connectivity. So we know that it's out there, so what gives? Why haven't we realized all of these benefits from blockchain, right? How is this possible? Why are there still so many hurdles that are there? The answer is not shocking, because the financial industry is chock full of two things: rules and regulations. And that also means it's chock full of a third thing, and that's regulators, right? Regulators like FINRA, whose job is to protect investors and deal with broker-dealers. The problem is that FINRA doesn't know how to deal with crypto companies or blockchain, and they're slow-playing applications. This is hurting investment in the space. You have the SEC. We all know what's been happening in the past couple years in the SEC. From 21 to 22, enforcement actions are up 50%, and they're continuing up this year. There are also regulators outside of the United States. And these are the types of regulators that see the benefit of innovation, but we all know that the wheels of innovation turn super, super slow when you're a regulator. You once had countries like Estonia that were a haven for innovation, but now they're being pulled back through the EU regulations. We know that the UK Finance Ministry has a report out talking about the benefits of tokenizing securities, but they have a 5-year roadmap. 5 years is a lifetime when it comes to technology. Issues around anti-money laundering and KYC, very important. They must stay here. We must make sure we do stop terrorism, but they do inject necessary problems into the system and inefficiency. Add on to that the centralized banking issues that have a hard time offloading and on-ramping crypto and accepting stablecoins for payments. And this centralized friction just kind of exists and exists and exists. So what is it that can actually take this friction and take it away? We don't know, but there's a rough road ahead. We know for a fact that these regulators aren't prepared to use the tools that they have to deal with the companies that we're creating. They're trying to take their old rules and enforce it on a new regime, and it's just a bad fit. It doesn't work, and it's not going to work. This creates massive hurdles, and it's keeping people with money and keep people who are building out of the ecosystem and actually making them question whether they should be doing this at all. So we all know that when you lose money and you lose talent, innovation suffers, because those are the two things that fuel and drive innovation. So why is Dinari in this? Why are we doing this? Well, is it worth it? We think it is, and we're actually trying to build an ecosystem that's going to make this something that's going to work. And we're talking about a global solution, where from just about anywhere, you can access with your stablecoin and purchase securities. Now, right now, we're focusing outside the US, but we're working on it. And that means working inside of the reform, trying to be the voice of reason and speaking with regulators, talking to FINRA, talking to the SEC, telling them that they need to evolve and replace outdated regulations with ones that work for all of us. This means we're headed down the path to become a regulated broker-dealer, and we're also looking at eventually having an alternative trading system for the tokens that we're issuing. We also are looking for, at scale, the ability to start buying and swapping and dealing with swapping these things without actually liquidating your assets and then repurchasing, but literally doing swaps to swap for tokens. That's only going to happen when we're able to get a decentralized exchange that's hands-off and in an innovative jurisdiction that's going to allow it. And because of that, we're also looking at fractional ownership and kind of what I call kind of custom ETFs that can mini-balance portfolios. Do we think our investors are going to want this and are going to benefit from it? Additionally, wealthy right now can access their investments and use tax-free debt to lever up and make more. We want to do the same for our investors at a much smaller level with the investments that they have. We believe this is going to increase liquidity, it's going to increase transparency, and it will absolutely increase access to decentralized markets greater than they are today in today's traditional finance. So, what do we need to do? This is my call to action right now. There are innovators in this audience. There are innovators that you have met. There are probably innovators right now that are thinking of something new that they're about to do. We need to have a unified voice. We need to call for things like right regulation. I use the term right regulation because we don't need no regulation. This idea that they're not securities, they shouldn't be regulated, we should do whatever we want, all that does is lead distrust in the system and distrust in what we're trying to build. That's not going to work. We need to show real awesome, palatable benefits from what we're doing on chain and what we're doing with the decentralized finance. And if we do that, we need to show the world that this is more than just flash. It's more than just crypto bro. It's real stuff. It's real things that we're building to better our system every single day. I want to thank you all very much for taking the time to listen to me speak here. I really hope that we can connect later. There's a little more information about me, a little bit more information about my company. And I also want to let you know I have my co-founder there in a Dinari shirt back there. He and I afterwards are going to be, we actually have some gift cards that you can redeem for a digital share of NVIDIA, up to 1 share, some fractionalized, it's kind of random, but there's actually no obligation other than the fact that you just need to redeem it on our system. So you're welcome. I really appreciate it. I look forward to meeting all of you. Have a great rest of your conference, and hopefully I'll see you tonight.